Boruto to Blue Vortex chapter 29 is an extremely action-heavy paradise, and everything from beginning to end kept me on the edge of my seat. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. I enjoyed it from Momoshiki's revelation from the end of his discussion with Boruto that we talked about earlier in the spoiler video. Y'all know my thoughts on that mainly. However, going deeper into their conversation and understanding how each character is approaching that deal that we see that they made. But even with that deal aside, Karma Seal Boruto out here going crazy, bro. When I tell y'all, I was extremely satisfied with this chapter, and also see it as a major setup chapter, not just from the absence of like certain characters or just things like that, but also from the setup in regards of, you know, Shikamaru and him being on the hot seat. In the middle of all of this chaos is actually happening. Sai is definitely on to Konoha, and then even more so by the time we get to the end of the chapter, it looks like despite all of the greatness we've witnessed with our eyes, this guy Kashin Koji is not satisfied. Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 29, one of the major action heavy chapters, but definitely a whole lot of setup, and it got me looking forward to like going into chapters 30, 31, and even 32 and seeing how Ikimoto might decide to close out this volume. But I'm keeping my eye out, right, because no Ada, no Damon particularly, so it's going to be real interesting to see once my guy Damon jumps into action. And I've been calling previously before, which I see earlier on in the 30s, possibly past chapter 30, so maybe 31, the end of 30, 31, 32, we're going to definitely see some Damon action. But chapter 29 opens off, like we said, with the Momoshiki deal, the discussion that Boruto and Momoshiki both had in their psyche, and we get a little bit more in-depth dialogue in terms of like what Boruto actually ended up revealing to Momoshiki. So we already talked about it. My guy Boruto is trying to clarify and make known that not only is he going to be needing Momoshiki to use his power, but also possibly even teaming up or allowing Momoshiki to be the one to take that final blow and deal with Jura and the Shinju, i.e. once and for all. So it's revealed obviously by this guy Momoshiki, which we already understood for the most part based off of Naruto Next Generation's part 1. Their minds are interconnected, their thoughts are one, so they essentially can't hide what they're essentially even thinking from each other, especially during a conversation. And Momoshiki quote unquote reads Boruto's mind, and he understands that Boruto plans to give over his body to Momoshiki all freely and willy, but he also plans to have Kawaki to be the one to deal that final blow and kill this guy Momoshiki, and in the same regard killing this guy Boruto. And Momoshiki lets him know outright the first thing he's gonna do once he is free once and for all is kill Kawaki. Forget the Shinju, forget Jura. He's gonna handle number one on his hit list is this guy Kawaki, and Boruto is dealing with one problem at a time, and right now he needs to deal with this guy Mamushi. So he's like, just let me know, do we have a deal or not, and can I use your power? And Momoshiki lets him know, yes, you can use my karma or whatever else you like. And in return, we see this guy Boruto's popping out the karma cell, he's popping out the Byakugan, and he's out here just combining things that just don't even need to be combined. Like pre Boruto 2 Blue Vortex era, you tell me there's a single character who's out here utilizing flying Raijin, the Uchiha style Shuriken Jutsu, a motherfucking Byakugan, and a massive Rasengan all in one move. I'm like, yeah, bro, you're talking about a Ninja Storm created character, but no, we're talking about the GOAT, Big Boruto Uzumaki, and he's wiping out these Mamushi like it's nothing. And like so, his counterpart, this guy Kawaki, is very much doing the same, completely obliterating the Mamushi clones like it's nothing. And we finally see him activating his dojutsu. We haven't seen it in a couple of chapters, but we see this guy get active with his bow staff, and he's debuting this new power. He kind of showed it against Jura, right? When he was fighting Jura, he had the bow staff. He channeled some power through his karma, and it allowed an explosion to follow through his bow staff. And similarly here, he runs through like a line of Mamushi, and each of them get tagged, and then we see the aftermath, all of them explode at once. So Kawaki kind of has a new move in his arsenal, but we see for both of them, both Boruto and Kawaki, not only how easy it is to take out one Mamushi clone, alone, but how easy it is for them to take on and take out a horde of them, because they're both clearing their sector with ease and moving on respectively. But we see the distinct differences, right? Because I can say this for certain. Between both of them, they're both very direct in their approach in battle and trying to end the battle quick and taking the most decisive means of ending the fight. But with both of their decisiveness, it comes with precision in Boruto's case as opposed to brutality with Kawaki's case, right? We know the requirements is destroying both of Momoshi's eyes. Boom, he can't use his ability no more. And in Boruto's case, he's decisive in cutting off Momoshi's head, but we see he's really aiming for the eyes, and most of the time it's like half of his head is normally being left intact as the Momoshi clone is falling and lying down dead. And here in Kawaki's case, we see he's like, yeah, bump all of that, we destroying the entire head. So he's just knocking off the entire head, destroying his entire head, and not just focusing on the eyes. But we see in separate panels, he's out here using the chakra similar to how Jigen used to use them. He's shrinking, he's out here teleporting behind Momoshi and flying through the sky. We figure out Momoshi can fly this chapter. All of this is going down and it's actually insane. And in the midst of this, the interrogation is still ongoing. They got my guy Mitsuki locked up and they won't let him out. And Konoha has a bright idea. He's like, hey, let me decide to try to take the heat off Mitsuki, because they're figuring it out. Like, they've done run so many tests and analysis. There's no way these handcuffs could have malfunctioned. So how did Boruto get loose? This guy Mitsuki must be the only clue, and you must be the only one who set him free. So how did you get the code? And if it's only a select few people who knew the code, that means we only got a select few more people to interrogate. And Konohamaru's inclusion only leads Lord Kubo to lead more into his intuition that Mitsuki was given this code by somebody and he's trying to protect somebody. And now Konohamaru's actions led him to believe that he's trying to protect somebody, right? So everybody is doing something in order to prevent Shikamaru from losing the Hokage position. Yet it seems to me like within the next few chapters, Shikamaru might lose this damn Hokage position. But aside from that, right, Sai is finally understood, yo, the Momoshi clones, the Shinju Divine Tree people are out here, they're invading the village, and he's like, boom, I'm finna dispatch a police force and I'm finna let Shikamaru know. And it's just so funny to me because it's like, you know for a fact the police force finna die, so he's just sending these niggas out here to their death. But ironically enough, he contacts Shikamaru, letting him know the plan, and Shikamaru gives Sai another reason to run this guy under the sus, radar bar, because he's like, yo, if things get too chaotic, just let this guy Mitsuki go. And Shikamaru's like, yo, just let Lord Kubo know it's going to be a direct order from the Hokage, and that in advance, I'm sorry. So in the midst of all of this going down, the action is definitely heating up within the village, and Inojin's freaking out because he's like, bro, we're approaching a level of, I think it's around 50 Momoshi's clones, and we know Kasha Koji told us previously, we need to keep him to 20 to 30. That will be the easiest amount to deal with and most effectively to be able to wipe him out in one fell swoop. So we're already at 50, and we see Team 10, they're on the go, and Himawari's approaching, and we see the difference in power here, right? Because with each of Boruto and Kawaki's strikes to these Momoshi clones, it was either one taking out directly their eyes or heads, or just completely killing them in one fell swoop. Where here with Himawari, she takes a nice good kick at him in her Kurama mode, and Momoshi, yes, he does fly back, but he's able to summon 2 more clones, and he's not really as harmed, obviously not dead, and eyes not destroyed, and they counter-attack Himawari, who in turn allows for Shikadai to show off his new jutsu, the Shadow Net, which allows for Chocho to come in for the final blow towards the end of the chapter. Now, for Shikadai's specific jutsu is real interesting because it's like, bro, he really threw 4 shadows out there into the mist, and then each of the clones got caught, and as soon as they got caught, he just yanked them like, get over here, real Scorpion style, off the roof, and had them fall down with Chocho doing the super expansion style slap on the end of the chapter. So it's going to be interesting to see if that attack by Chocho killed all of those Momoshi clones, because if that's the case, Chocho really just no diff or single diff one-shotted 4 Momoshi Shinju clones, regardless of if they're tied down by Shikadai or not. However, they're not weakened or durability is retained, like she just destroyed them. But I think they might just break out of it, or it might be revealed she didn't completely destroy or kill them. It's just more so in terms of them dealing the damage and slowing down the chaos in the midst of that area of the village. But excitingly enough, Boruto, my guy, was directed by Shikamaru to link up with Team 10. So we're definitely going to see some Boruto and Himawari link up soon. But for the most part, the most exciting thing in this this chapter for me was to see the Karma duo back in action, right? They gave it to us, they teased us a little bit prior to the Jura battle where we first saw Boruto and then we saw Kawaki. They didn't fight together, they didn't fight in the same chapter at the same time, and in turn, also Boruto didn't even use his karma. But now with this one, we got action and direct parallels back to back from both characters, granted not in the same area together in the battlefield, but we both see the Karma brothers in action. So let me know how y'all feel about this chapter, and why is this guy Kashin Koji even sussed out? Because he doesn't seem satisfied despite Inojin being very hyped. It's gonna be very interesting to see what is really throwing Kashin Koji off, and I'm telling y'all, bro, this guy is on death watch. He might be the next person to either be killed off or sacrifice his life for what he thinks to be the greater good. So it's really heating up, right? And more of this Byakugan action from Boruto is something that I'm excited for. I know people are talking about Jogan filler, Jogan not filler. There's definitely going to be discussions about that, but it's interesting to note that the Byakugan usage from Boruto lies in turn with Momoshiki's words at the beginning of the chapter: use karma or whatever else you like. And this is the first time we see Boruto actively use the Byakugan. And like I said, we ain't never seen nobody use these combination of jutsus ever before, with the Shuriken style from the Uchiha, the Byakugan from the Hyuga. You got the flying Raijin combo with the Rasengan mix that originated from Minato, who created that original jutsu. Anyway, that callback to Minato style massive Rasengan, right? And then the karma on top of it. So he's just blending any and everything, and he's just doing his own thing out here on the battlefield. But once we see that eye evolve, which I think we will see, that Jogan is definitely going to be the game changer. But for now, the Karma Boruto with the Byakugan was complete gas. Boruto chapter 29 was complete gas. I ain't gonna lie, my guy Kawaki and his brutality this chapter was complete gas. And all of these little subtle hints, especially with this guy Shikamaru approaching the hot seat, is definitely complete gas. So let me know how y'all feel about it, and are y'all sussed out by everything that's going down like this guy Kashin Koji? It's your boy Black Uchiha, long face skinny body. Holla at your boy. I'ma holla at y'all. Black Uchiha out. Yes sir. Ski.